Joining me now is Republican Representative Glenn Grothman from Wisconsin, who is also on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman Grothman, thank you very much for being here today on this developing and breaking news story. As we move through it together, I want to first start with your reaction to the strikes and the response to what we just heard from Congressman Bera.
Well, I can't say it was a surprise. We all knew that U.S. military was moving to the region. I think you could argue that we had somewhat of a moral responsibility to do something in this regard. American politicians, so many in Congress, and President Trump have been telling the people in Iran that we'd be with them, and we support their efforts for regime change. Now we've had people say 30 to 40,000 people die in Iran protesting, and it wouldn't be unreasonable for these people to think that the U.S. was going to be there to help them. I think sometimes politicians are too quick to promise this sort of thing abroad because people do react and even die in response to press releases coming out of Washington. Mm-hmm. But that's where we are right now. The average congressman really would like to know a lot more. I mean, right now, the House of Representatives is planning to be in on Tuesday. I think we should probably be coming right away on Monday. Takes a while to get in there. And I would like to have a briefing on all that they know about a so-called imminent threat from Iran.
Right. You know, I'm so curious about what happens behind closed doors. We all are. I mean, it's not like there's a memo that goes out, but that's what we continue to keep hearing is that you guys want more information, more about the strategy that's going on here. And then with everything that's going on internationally, here at home, Americans are still reeling with high prices, right? We had the State of the Union. Trump ran on a campaign that focused on putting America first. Do you think that the concentration today on foreign policy could hurt how voters decide in the midterms? Because we got to take what's happening now, but we're also taking a look down the road.
Well, I hope these decisions are not made for political reasons. Okay, I think Donald Trump, throughout his administration, I mean, America was kind of on a decline before he got there. He's trying to work his way back to where we were a few decades ago. And I think part of that is going back to the days when Iran was a solid Western modern ally in the region rather than an enemy trying to create problems in Syria or Lebanon or Yemen or who knows where. So in that regard, it's consistent with other things President Trump did. I will agree with you. Largely elections are decided on domestic issues, and we'll see what happens there. But like I said, I think maybe President Trump was a little influenced by all the tens of thousands of people who have been dying protesting in Iran and feeling that since we said we were going to stand behind him, now we are obligated to.
Yeah, I mean, for the last few weeks, we've been looking at those devastating images coming from those protests. And if we are truly talking about a regime change in Iran, what do you think that looks like?
Well, I'm not sure that they have definite people to put in place. And to a certain extent, it's going to come down to how many Iranians are working towards that regime change. There's certainly people running around Washington all the time, buttonholing congressmen saying, sign this letter, sign that. We want to do something to change things. But I guess we're going to find out whether they represent a clear majority of the Iranian people or whether it's a minority.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. We're going to watch it play out together. Congressman Glenn Grothman, thank you very much for joining the program today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.